This is the second part of UV's textures and shaders. We will talk more on UVs and how we can customize our textures and apply the necessary UVs in line with our textures. So, what is UV? UV is a set of coordinates that define the location of the texture. It is essentially the same as your XY coordinates, but is reserved solely for the use of texture coordination. So if you have a t-shirt, for example, how would you lay out as a single flat piece? So let's take a quick look in Maya as to how we are able to lay out our UVs. So I have here a really simple and basic t-shirt. Alright, so how am I going to set textures in line with the design of the t-shirt that I want? So very quickly go into your window. There's something called the UV texture editor. We are gonna bring that out. So once you open up your UV texture editor, you're gonna notice something within the editor. There's a dark big gray box or square with some of the divisions or lines within the box. So let's take a quick look at how we would navigate in your texture editor. Alternate right mouse button will allow you to zoom in and out, so is your scroll button. Next is your alternate middle mouse, allows you to pan around. Alright, so these are the basic navigation. So if I would zoom out and to look at this texture editor as a whole, simply put, anything within this dark gray 0 to +1, 0 to +1 on the X and Y or the U and V coordinates. This is where we want to put our UVs in. Alright. Now anything outside of this 0 to -1, 0 to -1 or further away means that it will tile the texture. Alright, so we will take a quick look at that later on. So first of all, just to give a really basic introduction on how to lay out your UVs. The correct term for laying out your UVs is unwrapping your UVs. It is the term that has been used across the 3D communities. So this is one term that you would want to remember. So there are a couple of ways to unwrap the UVs. So first of all, select the objects. Alright, make sure to go into polygons in your menu. Go to create UVs, planar mapping. Okay, so planar mapping, once it is projected on my objects, is gonna show up as something weird here. It's projecting the side. So this is not what we want, because when we unwrap UVs, we want to minimize the number of parts and to get them and maximize the area that is projected. So in this case, I want to flip it across, because on this side I'm only seeing this much, but on the front I can see a lot more. Right? So I want to set this to 0 so that it projects the front. But as I project the front, I can tell that this is stretch. Okay? Now, if I look at the outline of my UVs versus the object itself, the geometry, they should be comparison in ratio of their size. So in this case, it's because my projection width and height is not a square, which is why this is stretching in the texture editor. So I need to change this. I'll take the bigger number and input 5.107. Okay, so immediately I can tell that it looks kind of fair. So the next thing is, because this is still outside of the UV's box, so I need to put them inside. So you can right click within the texture editor and go to UVs. Alright, and marquee selects everything. Green is a selection of the UVs, and I can click on my scale tool and scale it down. Alright. So the next thing that I want to do is to right click my objects, my geometry, and go to object mode, select the objects, and I want to right click again and assign a new material. Okay, I'm going to call this oops, sorry. I need to right click and assign a new material. Okay, select Lambert. I'm going to get Lambert 2. I'm going to rename it to T-shirt. Alright. And in the color, if you recall, we can put a file. In this case, I'm going to click on it. And select 2D textures. I'm going to use checker. Alright. So in my viewport, I will hit my keyboard number 6 to display my checker. Alright. From the front view, it looks perfect, but on the side view, I will see some stretching. This is a rectangle instead of a square. So select your objects in your UV texture editor. This is kind of looking a mess because I am not able to see some of the lines due to the texture. So what you can do is click on the circle to turn it on and off, or click on the lower icon here to dim it on and off. So I'm just going to dim it, and I want to fix this stretching. As you can tell, it's a rectangle. So I need to go into UVs. Alright, select the UVs points. Okay, and click on my move tool and move it out. And as I move, notice how this texture change. Okay. So I am just going to pull it long enough to look like it's a square. Right. So I'm just going to do it on the opposite side. So select the UVs and move it. Okay, somewhere maybe too much. Okay, maybe. Okay, so I need to fix up the rest of the parts, like the ones below the armpits. So, because you can make comparisons again with the ratio of this face versus what's up here. So what I can do is to select the UVs and bring it down. Do it for the opposite side as well. There. Now you're gonna get quite a little bit of distortions here and there. Not to worry, because it is almost impossible to eliminate all distortions on your objects of the UVs. So what we want to do is really to minimize it. Like for example here, there's some stretching and distortion here, but I'm not too concerned with it. Okay, and even here, alright, this is just something minor, and also somewhere around here, this doesn't even look like a square to me, but if it looks rightly distributed, then we can, and it still looks somewhat squarish, then we can just, you know, move on and fine-tune the other parts. So the next one will be the top. I will need to select these UVs and move it up. Right. So more or less we are we have a basic layout of our UVs. Alright. So how do we customize our textures based on the UVs? So we select the t-shirt or to select the geometry so that these UVs are being reflected in the editor. Click on polygons and click on UV snapshots. So in UV snapshot, I am just gonna browse up to my one of my folders here. Just gonna call it basic t-shirt basic UV. Alright. X and Y is basically your resolution of an image. So I'm just gonna use 2048. As you recall, we need to use power of 2. And the next thing I'm gonna change is my image format to Targa. And you can click OK. So once you click OK, you should see a message here, save file, okay, t-shirt basic UV. Alright, I'm just going to close my texture editor. Okay. Open up my Photoshop and then locate the file. Alright, so just something basic and immediate that I would always do. Double click on my background, turn it to a layer. Alright, go into my channels because I have my alpha. So hold down your control and left mouse click on alpha to make a selection. And then click on this little icon there and create a solid color. Change the color to white, click OK. Alright, so I have an outline of my objects. So I will create another solid color, this time black. Alright, and I can get rid of my layer 0 and go to my channels. Because this is an alpha channel, anything in black is going to be transparent. So to avoid saving the wrong bit or saving the wrong file, I'm just going to delete my alpha away. Okay, so back to my layers. I'm just going to create a layer in between, and very quickly, just to show you what my texture can do, I'm just going to create something in Photoshop. And maybe set this to 200. So I'm just going to call this awesome t-shirt. Alright, maybe move it a little up here. And these lines are again telling us where our t-shirt would end or where we should be painting our texture. So again, I am just going to show you something really quickly. So I'm just following the lines of my UVs, as you probably can tell. And one of the things about texturing is that we will want to always outside of the outline. This is because when we create textures and apply it on an object, there will be bleeding of your UVs to your geometry. So we would want to put something kind of like a buffer. So let me change the color to maybe blue, and let's create something. Okay, so once I'm done, I'm just going to hide my wireframe. That's what we call it in the 3D community. Alright, this is a wireframe. So I'm just going to hide it. And I'll save this out as a tagger. Just going to call this t-shirt basic. Save it as 24 bits. If you are not saving the alpha channel, click OK. Now open up Maya again, and this time round let me just assign a new material, another lambert perhaps. Just gonna call this colored t-shirt, and in my color click on the checker box, select 2D textures, select file. Alright, and click on my texture, and there we go. Alright, and if you notice, my front is perfectly fine, but my back, this is a huge problem. Okay, the words are inverted. So this is an issue when it comes to your UV layouts, because if we were to take a closer look, what we did was to select the entire objects, okay, and had this problem. So what we are going to do here, two ways. I can select the face, okay, select half the objects, and make sure it's half the objects. And I am going to create another planar map. Alright, again make sure that this is laying flat across 5.107. Make sure that this is a square. Alright, so with this I am going to bring this out of the designated area for my UVs. Okay, so what I am going to do is to flip this across. These are your flips. Alright, so I'm gonna flip this across, so now we get the correct direction. So what are we gonna do next? So what I want to do is in fact lay it out, because often enough we do not want to have our front and back looking the same. Okay, some do, some don't. So what I want to do is to create something different for my back. So what I can do again is to flip it down. Alright, so now I can deselect this by clicking anywhere within the texture editor. Okay, I'll go to my UVs and deselect it. So this is what it's going to look like. And in fact, it would be again a good practice to reassign my checker. So maybe the checker, because I need to fix this again. So let me do that really quickly. So once that is done, what I'm going to do again is to scale it down to somewhat the size of what I have done earlier. So the next thing is I need to match this up. Alright, so what I can do right now is to select edges. Now whenever I select an edge, notice how it will be reflected. What we want really is to make sure that this edge fits into that edge instead of opposite. Once it is opposite, it is not correct. Alright, so this is telling me that I need to flip across so that I can merge my two edges together. Alright, so I'm going to go to face again, select this and flip it across. So I have to check again, select the edge, oops, sorry, select edge. Okay, so this is correct. I am going to select all these edges. Alright, go to polygons. You will have something called the Show UV edges. Alright, so once you set to Show UV edges, this itself would be seamless. Another term to remember. Seamless simply means that it is unlike what you see here. This doesn't match up. This is what we call a seam. This is where we would put the stitches or our needlework to create our t-shirt. Alright. So now that we have a nice seamless object here, or UVs, but again we have to fix this before we bring it into Photoshop to create our textures. Alright, so let's say this is looking perfect. Again, like I've mentioned before, we need to scale this and put it inside the 0 to 1 square. Okay, so we have a nice looking thing here. So right now what we can do is again make sure that this is on object mode. Alright, select this is in object mode, go to polygons, UV snapshot. Okay, I am going to call this t-shirt full UV. Save it. Okay, 2048, that's correct. Targa, click OK. Alright, go back to my Photoshop. I'm gonna open my full UVs. Okay, so this is what it's gonna look like. Again, gonna do the necessary stuff. Turn this to layer by double clicking. Alright, go to channels, control click alpha within this black square. Okay, you'll say load selection. Go to layers again. Just click on it and select solid color. Make sure it's white. Alright. Click on my layer 0 and click on this icon, adjustment layer. Click on solid color, turn it to black, click OK. Now delete away layer 0, we don't need it anymore. Select the channels tab and delete away my alpha channel. Alright. Now I go back to layers. I probably can, let's see, maybe not. Maybe I will create a brand new t-shirt. Alright. So I'm just gonna name this guy Awesome T-shirt number 2. And as you can tell, I have the font size, because right now our UVs have shrunk even though it's still at 2048. Okay, so let me just create something, and I am gonna call this awesome. Now I'm just gonna call this nonsense t-shirt number 1. Alright, and what I am gonna do is to flip this vertically. Okay, and probably not like I have to rotate this guy. Apply. Okay, so I'm just gonna add a few more details to it. I put this red, and maybe an inner shadow. That, and let me do a quick one. To flip this across. I think I made a mistake by flipping vertical earlier. Okay, so that should work out pretty fine. Okay, so I'm just going to turn off my wireframe, save this wonderful looking t-shirt, and I'm going to call this guy t-shirt full. Make sure to save it as 24 bits without saving the alpha. Go back to my objects. Alright, I am gonna reassign my color t-shirt. Okay, so right now it looks like crazy. It's because I need to change the name. Yep, so t-shirt full, let me change the font. And there we go. Awesome t-shirt number 2 and nonsense t-shirt number 1. Alright, so that is how you would create or set up a UV and that allows you to customize your design of your textures according to where your UV is. Well, that brings the end of our video tutorial on UV setup. Thank you for watching. Bye.